Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Ted here with Bodies and Wicks, and doing my quick analysis series. So you won't be hearing me talk for hours upon hours. You're just gonna get a quick take on what the equity is, and that way you can go along without your day without having to sit in front of a computer for an hour. You know, nobody wants to do that, especially myself. So, done a couple already. If you haven't checked them out, Cardano did Bitcoin, did a follow up to Bitcoin, did Ethereum. Now, today, right now, what we are doing is we are doing BNB, the Binance coin. So let's go ahead on. Hold on one second. There's something wrong with the music. Well, actually, there's something wrong with a lot of things. That there we go. Okay, I got it all fixed in one quick second. That's all it took. So if you're looking at BNB with an hour of hour candles, this is what it would look like, but we're not going to take a look at that right now. We are going to go back all the way back to explain to where we got to where we are. So I want to go back to the monthly, because the monthly is going to give us a lot of information and tell us some really good information too. So monthly, you have a fair value gap between down here back when it was about $51, and that's whenever it exploded. Remember? Exploded, came up all the way up to about 365, came back down. By the time we hit the next month, we were back at 210, right? Took off, and then another explosion again, right? But right after that explosion, just like everything else in the crypto world, it just started dropping, right? That month, the whole month. But the thing is that this right here, this is what I think is what is the best thing about BNB's price right now. Is that this wick it didn't touch it, but it almost touched this monthly fair value gap. Usually what you want it to do is touch it barely, and then it'll bounce out. Or if it doesn't even get there, that's close enough. Because price does two things, right? Price balances, right? And price is looking for liquidity. Those are the two things price do. Price does not follow a trend line. It does not follow a channel. It does not use harmonics. All of that stuff is for the people that follow retail and don't understand price action. So if you believe in all that stuff, go ahead and change it, because I am not going to be teaching any of that. I'm going to be teaching you what real price does. Okay? So, and as you can see, it almost touched this monthly fair value gap that I was talking about, which is basically in between two candles, right? It's actually three consecutive candles, and if there's a gap of basically a void of price in between there, that basically it's almost like a welcome sign. It attracts price to that area. Because it needs balanced, right? And it hasn't been balanced if there's no red candle coming back in here and then bouncing back out. But since this one almost touched it, I think that's close enough, and I think we're safe to say that we're gonna stay above this 213 level where it got to where it lowest. I don't think we'll get any lower. It's possible, but I don't think we will. Okay. I know you see a bunch of stuff right through here, and we're going to get through that in just a second. So we're going to go to the weekly now. All right, so the weekly, if you look at the weekly, especially when you see this fall and almost hit this, you also see a couple different levels. I probably should have included that as well. So you have a couple different low-lying targets that are just above that monthly fair value gap. And what that did is it took out anybody that had basically a sell stop sitting right there, right? Because it would have triggered that sell stop, and when it went the other way, it would have took them out. Anybody trying to go short that way, and also anybody who had a very, very, very short buy limit. So if you had a buy limit set just above here, thinking that this line right here was your support line, what did it do? It went right through that, and hopefully, especially if they had a very, very short. It's a fairly large gap there. I mean, between, what was it, 219 or 220 something to 209. Then I don't think anybody is going to try. They might try a stopgap, in between there. Either way, as it came through there, it probably destroyed those people as well, pushed back out. And then what did we see here? Why did this price right here, especially I know I probably should have hid those, but here, let's hide them real quick. You see this price come up here, especially the newest month. It comes up and then it backs down. Well, why does it do that? Is because there's a fair value gap right here. Of course, it runs all the way across. This ran right through that fair value gap, but it still means that fair value gap is in play. The algorithm does not forget where these things are, okay? And that's another thing about being a smart money theorist, is that you always have to understand that there's an algorithm in play. The algorithm doesn't forget things. It cuts through candles. It doesn't stop at just the next candle. And there's certain things that can take over, and that all of a sudden maybe this order block or fair value gap may not have as intensity as it once did, because now there's something new in play. So you just kind of have to roll with the flow with some of these. So that being said, that it's about as much about the weekly as we're going to get. The better we're going to get is once we get closer to the daily, to the hourly. So once we get to the daily, this is where things get good. So as you can see, that we have two highs. Especially I did a Fibonacci sequence from the lowest here all the way to here, and as you can see, both, well, maybe it should have been a little bit higher. I don't know. Hold on. Either way, both of these, it should have been over here on this one, because this one's the highest. Either way, they're both about equal, right? They're both about equal, which means that there is a pocket of liquidity above them. Now, what a pocket of liquidity means is that there are either sell orders and sell limit orders right there, running across this line through here all the way across. Or sell stop or buy stop orders, meaning as soon as it crosses that line, it all of a sudden it becomes a market order. The market order, floods the market with liquidity, and now we have money in the game. So that's why I put liquidity right here. And once we get to the hour, we'll see, or 4 hour, I think maybe we'll see another one. Also with the daily, we do have another fair value gap just above here. So this is what is hurting, I guess, Binance, is that we do have, two fair value gaps that is underneath. Once these things get into fair value gaps, it usually pushes them back out. But once it gets through them really quickly, or it slowly pushes through them. So it could be one or the other. It depends on what the price is looking for. Like I said, it's always looking for liquidity. If there's some kind of liquidity it's looking for, which I believe it's going to be looking for the liquidity up here at the highest price, is going to be trying to get up there eventually. I don't know when, but I do think Binance BNB is set up to go higher. It's definitely set up to go higher. I do not see any bearishness in this at all. Once we get to the 4 hour, so 4-hour. Here we go. Here is the fib sequence. Now it did pull back to the 50s. It didn't get any lower. Usually once it gets lower into this area here in between the 61 and the 88, that is like your power buy, because that is when your institutions come in and your institutions see that, and they know that that is basically the discount of the day or the week or whatever. They know that that is where the discount is, because they've probably bought this because they know the algorithm, they know exactly where the low is, and they see, they know it's going to come down and touch this. They buy right there as much as they can. Boom, it takes off, right? And then they wait for the next what's the word I'm looking for? Discount. So, but considering there is not a current discount with this, it did get to the 50. Well, it got to here. There's an order block in here, and if I get to the 1 hour, it will show you the order block. Once I get to the 1 hour is when things get a little clearer. So you can see you have a red down candle, right? And then you have 2 green candles overtaking that red candle. So whenever you see that, the push down and then the big push off, actually three green candles, boom, boom, then all of a sudden you have an order block right there, meaning the next time that price is going to come back to that area, it's expected to be rejected from that area. And what do you know? It comes all the way back over here. As soon as it hits that area, boom, rejection. So we did get the rejection that we wanted. The thing is that it's a lot higher than what you would normally see these. Normally you'd see these down in here, right? Like maybe this guy, but this guy is not an order block, because the next candle is not a green candle overtaking the red candle. So let's see here. So once we get over here, again, we still have the liquidity sitting right above here, right? Is this the, yeah, I guess it is. I guess I went a little bit too high for it. So here is your liquidity sitting right here. I mean, these two are almost identical, these two highs. Let's actually look and see. So we got high here is 387.576159, and then this one is 388.608202. So maybe about $1 off, not too much. It's still close enough to. I mean, if we probably stretch it out, I'm probably sure we'd be able to see it. Oops, didn't mean to do that. Click that. Yeah, and you can see it there now that we stretched it out a little bit. So, and then also here, you have kind of the same thing going on. You have 1, 2, not as much, but still, I mean, you still have this liquidity. So I put this line all the way across. Now I was wondering why it came up to here and then fell backwards, and I had to do a lot of digging, right? And pull this over here, and there is a fair value gap right here, a little tiny one in the 1 hour that went all the way across. So it gets above, hits that fair value gap, pulls down. Whenever it pulls down, what does it do? There's another fair value gap here. And so it inserts in that fair value gap, and then it pushes off of that one. Now I think this is the one that's going to propel it, hopefully a lot higher, just because this fair value gap is a lot smaller. It's already been completed. So from this point forward, I think we're going to see it go up and probably confuse some people. Hopefully that's usually what these prices do, is they'll come up to these liquidity lines, right, to where these highs are. People will start selling because they think this is, of course, resistance line. So they'll start selling. It will start selling probably a little bit. People start chasing it. And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, it'll turn around and just go right back up and take all of those people out. So, I didn't mean object tree. Come on now. Get out of the way. All right. So then it'll push through that one. And then I do see another little fair value gap right here. It could possibly be aiming for. So these fair value gaps, they also act as kind of magnets as well. And you know how magnets are, whenever they get pushed together, they repel. Same thing with price, right? And the price is kind of attracted to a magnet. Once it gets there, boom, it could repel. But then it could, as soon as but I've also seen them go right through these things. But more than likely, you have to watch out for these fair value gaps, because they do usually touch them, so repel at some point and then go back through them. Or these could be reversal points as well. That's like the other thing. But with the way this is set up, with these highs here, the ultimate high set up way up here, I have a feeling BNB is going to be doing nothing but go up. I mean, it could be going sideways for quite some time too. But I'm not saying, right now, today, that we're going to see this do this, and get to these highs and then pull back and then push up. I'm not saying we're going to see that today. I'm saying eventually we will see something like that. Could be this week, could be tomorrow, it could be today, who knows? But this is generally what happens in these type of situations. Now, there are some fair value gaps down here as well. And that's the thing, that's the only thing that is kind of worrying about this, is that it hasn't gotten down, especially with this Fibonacci sequence here. It hasn't gotten down into this area to where it could take it basically. And here is the gap that I would be looking at if I was anybody. Right here, right in between 238 and 246. It's exactly where I'd be looking. My head is right in front of the way. Let me see if I can't get my head out of the way of this. There we go. So, as you can see, see if I can get the there we go. As you can see, it's right here. There's that opening for that fair value gap. It was now I've got this thing on. Like I said, it was 246 to 240, I would say. Pull that all the way across. Yeah, well, if I could. And then watch out for price if it gets below this order block. Okay, order blocks don't last forever, right? The order blocks can get pushed through. It's not like they're the magic savior. Just generally, when the next time something does touch them, the general reaction is to push off. And the thing is that since it did push off, right? We made even higher until we hit the fair value gap. We fell back into this fair value gap, and now we're going higher from here, which would lead me to believe that we're continuously looking for higher prices. But the only thing that concerns me is that we are not in the area of the institutional discounts, right? So the institutions, they want their discounts and they want to buy low, right? And so they would look somewhere in this area to start buying. I don't think this thing is going to take off until somehow it gets down here. I could be wrong. I could be completely wrong, but hopefully this happens and we don't have to worry about it somehow getting way down here into this fair value gap before it turns around and goes back. But those are the things I'd be looking for the BNB coin. So especially since we're at 333. I mean, we still got a while before the high, and even if it does break this liquidity, again, it could pull back again and then go higher. And then what do you got to look for? You have another fair value gap above that, which is unfortunate, but it's also right above some highs that it could try to take out. Also use your fib sequences like your 27%, your 150% for goals if you're going to be trading, on leverage. Use those as areas for goals or price to go to, because that's where it's almost automatic. They always go to 27, 50, and in the 62% for each one. So that's why I have my set up that way. So anyways, that's enough for me for BNB coin. I hope you got enough of that. If you have any questions, please put the questions in the comments below. That would be great. I would love answering comments. I usually try to do these things live, but for some reason it's been telling me that I do not have enough streaming video for me to do live for some reason. So that's why I've been doing these in really quick short videos, and hopefully you guys can put some comments down below. Join my Patreon if you wish, please. It's just a couple of bucks just to keep the channel going, because I try to do this as much as I can, but sometimes a little monetary incentive helps. It helps go a long way, especially if you're looking for information that you haven't had before. And hopefully this information ends up being right, which I wouldn't say most of the time, but most of the time it usually is. It's a lot better than trying to get information from Bubba, who is over here going, well, look at this guy here, and he's got this trend line here going this way, and what? There's no trend line there. Trend lines don't work, people. Hold on, I actually forgot to show you that. So that was on the charts. I forgot it. So I was saying, I got this guy over here, Bubba, teaching me things, and he's here's part of his trend line. He's got one. There's the second touch. Now we're just waiting on the third touch, and as soon as it touches that third time, we're gonna bet on it, and it's gonna go up really high. And it went right through it. See, trend lines don't work, people. Trend lines don't work. Channels don't work. Your harmonics don't work. Anybody that's been feeding any of that crap to you is lying to you. What you have to do is find out what price is doing, and price is always trying to look for the same thing. It's looking for liquidity, and it's looking to balance itself, right? And once you can figure those two things out, you can figure out the market. All right, that's it for me. I'm gonna head out of here, and I hope you all have a good day, and remember to always keep your pants on.